person, Mr. Bolaji. Abdullahi is live for us in our studio. Thank you so much, Malam Abdullahi, for joining us now.
Very much. It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Awesome to you. Good to see you. All the alliances and some heavyweights coming together under the umbrella of the ADC, and it's seeing someone like you who's been a former minister and who is a former governorship aspirant in your state, coming to now speaking for the ruling, for the major opposition party now. I'm saying major opposition party now because suddenly the ADC seems to be a party to look out for. The PDP is falling apart. The Labour Party seems to not to find its feet, but the ADC seems to have had all of the major players from all of the opposition parties come under one umbrella. But in all of this, we've seen Dele Momodu also, interestingly, from Benin City, declared his, and you saw, interestingly,
look, I'm very confident that if there are political scientists to study the trajectory of political party development, they will probably tell you that ADC has one of the fastest growth in Nigerian political history. And the reason is not far-fetched. You mentioned all those different people joining our party and all. The reason is very clear. It is clear to everyone today there is only one option. The possibility of Nigerians having to continue with what the current APC government is doing under President Bola Tinubu is too scary to contemplate in terms of what has happened to the lives and livelihood of Nigerians, in terms of what has happened to the image and reputation of this country, in terms of what has happened to the status of Nigeria as a leader of the black race the world over. Every Nigerian today who knows what Nigeria should be, what Nigeria used to represent in the past, and where we are today, we don't want what is going on to continue. So all these people you see joining our parties, these big wigs and political heavyweights, are also telling themselves that what is at stake is bigger than my individual ambition.
And this is not all about grabbing power.
No.
Because there are those who think that this intent is solely to get Tinubu out of power. That is the agenda, and not about the interest of Nigeria.
No, of course we want to get Tinubu out of power. That's the only way we're going to do. No, not desperately. Because it's only by getting him out of power that can take our country back. There's no scenario where he remains in power and we're able to save this country.
Is the country stolen?
It's more or less it has been hijacked. You see some of the behavior of the people in government, and when people say you can smash it and grab it and run with it, that is the language of banditry. A government that can forge a duly passed law, what do you call that? You see, some things have happened in recent time that is unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. This is the first time we hear that the National Assembly will pass a law, then some people in government will sit and forge it and actually try to pass it off as the duly approved law. This is the first time that we're hearing that a government of Nigeria will pay $9 million.
Is it 6 million or 9 million? No?
It's 9 million. It was, I read the agreement, I saw the document. If you go to the P0wer website, you see it there. $9 million. $9 million for lobbyists to make them look good before Donald Trump.
Is it a bad thing to lobby?
It's not a bad thing to lobby. But what they are doing, number one, I don't even want to go to the issue of all the processes. How did they award this contract? How was the money paid? Who paid this money? What budget line is it? How was the money transferred out of Nigeria? We are not even going into that. But when you are paying $9 million, if you invest $9 million on your internal security matters, you will see results. And you don't have to convince the president of another country that your country is safe. You are paying $9 million to a public relations group in the US, company in the US, to make you look good, to tell Americans and the American president that as a matter of fact, what you think about us is not who we are. So, and that is all they care about. They don't care about whether Nigerians are still dying. They don't care about what people are still being killed. They just want to look good before Americans. Okay, I woke up this morning. What did I see? around 19th December, this government signed an MOU, a medical MOU with the United States, this same United States. When I read the details, it is shocking to say the least. You go and look at it. That even though Nigeria is paying more, the Americans dictated the term. They decided how the money will be spent and what section of the country they want the money to be spent on in our country, even though we are paying more. No Nigerians have seen the details of this MOU. Now, that aside, I'm sure whenever you went on holiday, I'm sure you knew when President Trump went to grab the Venezuelan president. Nigeria historically were a non-aligned nation. That's what we call ourselves. But Nigeria up to now has said nothing. How did we get here? What did our president do that he no longer has a voice?
Is it not politically dangerous for Nigeria to have come out in that scenario when Nigeria is being compared? Nigeria faced some kind of a threatening narrative from the Trump government, and those who are already comparing the Maduro government to the present government in terms of the treatment that the Trump could melt out because he has sent out different kind of threats. So is that saying is it diplomatically or politically?
Well, I don't know, but what I'm asking is that maybe it's not political, but is that the kind of president we want? A president that will not be able to speak for us, be able to chest out for Nigeria, a country of 250 million people.
A President Trump that can come and pick any president in the middle of the night and take them to jail in America.
I said, but Ghana spoke out. Ghana issued a statement to say, no, you can't do this. It's against international law. Other smaller countries, with due respect to Ghana, spoke out, took a position. How did we get to the point that Nigeria can no longer take a position? And I'll give you one instance. Historically, this is a leading country in the world. In 1962, when Nelson Mandela was arrested by the apartheid government in South Africa, they were going to execute him. The first judgment was death sentence. Nigeria, led by Jajawa Chukwu, the foreign affairs minister, intervened and they converted it to life imprisonment. How many other instances can we point out where Nigeria has directed the boycott of the Commonwealth Games? I can't remember what, I think it was Glasgow. So how many times have Nigeria set agenda for the rest of the world? And we have people. So how did we get here? That Nigerian president can no longer take a position because our president is afraid.
The government seems to say Nigeria forced the agenda. That's what this government seems to have established in its diplomatic and its
Nigeria first agenda.
Foreign relations.
No. So don't be deceived. This is not Nigeria first agenda. What we are seeing, okay, I'll give you another example. You say Nigeria first agenda. Can you think of any instance in history where a president would declare a state of security emergency, which by the way is still subsisting, then jets off on holiday in another country? No, explain that. We use Nigeria first. So you see, we are going through a very terrible period that we have never. Nigeria is sinking.
Are you saying, or what are you inferring really, that President Bola Tinubu's absence from the country, and he did explain the reasons why he's going to be out of the country, are you saying it is wrong of him to have traveled out of the country?
It's about priorities.
But still, don't forget, canceled about 2 or 3 appointments abroad because of security situations.
Sometimes ago they say he cancelled. No, you see, when they announced that the president was traveling, what did they tell you? They said he was going on holiday in Europe, and that was suspicious. Going on holiday in Europe, which country is called Europe? Then a few days later, they posted this photo, so it shows like he's having breakfast with Paul Kagame in France. That itself generated its own controversy that the photograph was forged and all that. That it was AI generated. Then we saw our president in Abu Dhabi attending the climate change thing. This is a country where you have declared a state of security emergency, that your citizens are still being killed, that you expect the president to do nothing 24 hours but dealing with this insecurity. No, you don't see that.
So you think that President Tinubu should sit put in Nigeria?
Absolutely, and I'm sure he will agree. Were he not the president today, I'm sure President Tinubu will agree with me. Because that's what I'm saying now is what he will have said.
If it's an ADC president, it should have been a president that will sit without traveling.
Absolutely, because this is where what
about the trade relationship and the deals that have been signed? Some of the achievements that have been made in trade and investment. The direct foreign direct investment that have been
foreign direct investment. Okay, so let's leave that. Where are your ministers? What's the job of your ministers? I saw my president received by a minister of state in Abu Dhabi. Nigerian president received by a minister of state. Come on, Shehu, don't you feel insulted? Don't you feel insulted? Our president should be here. Ministers should be doing those kind of jobs. 3 years after, we don't even have ambassador. They said they submitted some names sometimes ago last year that the National Assembly has cleared. Up to now, they have not posted a single one of them. And let me tell you, if they post them today, before they get their letter of credence, maybe end of 2026, before they resume formally and are able to function as ambassador, especially in first-class missions in the world, because the receiving countries will still have to vet them and agree that they are receiving them. Then before they issue them agreement and before they begin to function. All that has not happened. And this is why our president have to outsource diplomatic function and pay $9 million to a lobbyist, a lobbying firm, to do public relations for us. When Nigeria should be in the room talking for Nigeria, is you have to hire people to
How do you encapsulate or summarize your own assessment of the Tinubu-led government over the last 2 years or more?
There's too much incompetence in the government. I don't know why.
In the government or
yes,
the presidency?
No. I mean, the president is competent. I'm not saying he's not competent. Individually, if you see him, you know he knows what. So, but there's too much incompetence.
How can the competent leader lead an incompetent government? Is that not contradictory?
No. You have the impression that he's overwhelmed. You have the impression that
this is the man who says, I asked for it, I fought for it, I got it. Blame me for whatever has happened. The president says he's up to the task.
They are blaming him.
How can the president be overwhelmed when he says this is the job that I asked for and I'm the one the buck stop on my table, on my desk? That's what the president has said over and over again.
Saying President Bola Tinubu, so there's no debate. The jury has closed on that, right?
And what did they close on?
That this administration has failed. And what we are saying is that I see all kind of adverts that they are putting out saying they have done this, they're counting numbers. But what is clear is that they don't get to mark their own report, their own result sheet. Nigerians will mark it, and Nigerians have marked their script, and Nigerians have concluded that they have failed. Now, the question of alternatives. You see, the mistake we keep making, around that you referred earlier to the Second Republic parties. The mistake we keep looking for one person that we believe will solve this problem.
That's the concept of leadership.
There's concept of leadership.
Private sector, public sector.
You see, I don't want to.
You've got to have someone. One person will lead the pack, have the vision, carry the vision, and be able to lead.
I don't want to go into this philosophical debate because we don't have the time. We can talk about agency and agents and all that. But what I'm saying is that fundamentally, there were times in this country when a political party, like you said, stood for something, and whoever contest election on the platform of those political parties know that they have to implement the program of the party. Like you said, you refer to the UPN in the Second Republic. You know that if you are voting for the UPN, you know what you are voting for, and that is why it's the name of the political party that is on the ballot. It is when we begin to discount the role of political parties in governance and begin to focus on the individual that we begin to get it wrong.
But we don't have the time. We just have 20 seconds today. Can you tell Nigerians the truth? And those who think that your party is just floating a lie to the Nigerian public that this is not an article machinery.
No, it's absolutely not. Every ADC member today knows that It's only people looking from the outside that say this. Right? Every ADC member knows today that our party does not belong to anybody, and that's why Peter Obi will come in, and that's why Rotimi Amechi is there.
That's why the ticket is for
no.
It's already.
It is the ruling party spreading. You see, they're trying to second guess us, trying to gaslight us, and I tell them to mind their business. In social, that's what it's called voyeurism. And voyeurism, peeping into the neighbor's bedroom. What is that? Only that justify that. You see, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why I call it second guessing. If Atiku gets the ticket, he gets the ticket. It doesn't mean that, oh, they were right all along. If Atiku gets the ticket, he gets the ticket. If somebody else gets the ticket, he gets it. But what I'm saying is that where we start today, this ADC does not belong to anybody.